Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. And the joy of being between you and the coffee break is on me. So I will try to be brief. Thank you very much. I think everyone in the room knows that cars are becoming software-defined, AI-enabled. But I bet that the winning cockpits moving forward will not be the conversational cockpits who has the most talkative agent, but the ones that really remove the friction from the user. So the main question that I want to address is, what does the car become when it coordinates the user's goals across the vehicle systems, personal context, and trusted services? My name is Abe Silhan. I'm vice president at Cinemo. We are an industry-leading software IVI company. You might not be familiar with the brand, all of us, but we are present in 180 million vehicles globally. We work with 40-plus OEMs, 20-plus tier ones, and that's it for who we are. But I'm here to tell you that we have actually a very practical view and perspective on the topic. And I don't want to address the topic from the AI hype. I want to tell you about some of the reality of what can be designed, integrated, governed, and delivered within the vehicle experience. So as I said, software-defined vehicles are present every day more, and this is why it matters now. AI-enabled vehicles is becoming the new norm. You can see a lot of OEMs, but also big and popular brands bringing Gen AI in the vehicles. Yet, as it was mentioned in one of the previous presentation, users are really used to the smoothness of their phone experience. They have the expectation of working with their apps, with the data from the calendars and the smart services they're using their preferred payment methods, digital services, and connected ecosystems. Actually, if you look at it, users often have pain points, issues, and tasks that they want to achieve and chain. They want to know where to go, when to leave, who to pick up, where to charge, where to park, if something can be bought on the way. Avoid thinking about maybe 10 different applications. This is really, I think, what the challenge is. When you think about it, users are exposed to a fragmented ecosystem and a fragmented user experience. And I'm not sure if users can really all switch between those apps and those UIs. Let's talk about what can deliver maybe a more convenient user experience. And one reflection that I have from the conversations I'm having on the market is that often capabilities do not necessarily mean the magical user experience. Models can talk, sensors can observe, screens can display, but the value appears when the agents really resolve a friction. And as I said, almost everyone nowadays has an AI story. However, it is often single domain and still navigation dominated. And the question is, what is the moment of value beyond navigation, POI, and just a nicer voice user interface? As I said, if the user still has to coordinate calendar apps, email apps, route, airport statuses, coffee apps, parking apps, well, then the UI doesn't really, the AI doesn't really change the experience. It's just another surface. So we should not start with what can AI do, but with what the driver should stop doing. What problems and frictions are we removing? And this is where there is that shift between assistants and agents and that agentic ecosystem. Assistants, they're usually command handlers. They respond to intents, play this, navigate there, call someone, tell me what this place is. They wait for the command, often handle a specific domain and return information, very much as opposed to agents that work backwards from goals, that can handle intent and plan across tools and act within policies, which is extremely critical in the automotive industry that is highly regulated, right? So if a user says, I want to drive to Munich, an assistant can answer the question and set the navigation. An agent can coordinate a plan, a route, with charging, potential hotel, if your route is long, parking, traffic, calendar updates, if you're coming on late, weather, and user preferences. The most important user experience shift is that the user no longer has to be an app coordinator if an agent can resolve all of that for him. So the heart of my argument, you have seen me talking about all those apps that are disconnected, for me is that the agentic value happens at the intersection of data. This is really where the magic comes from, the context fusion. And I'll spend some more time on that, specifically about the user life data context. I don't know how many of you have been playing with agents that can access calendars and emails. And there was a great question some minutes ago about privacy and things like that. So all of that is, of course, dependent on the user consent, for sure. However, if you can access such type of data, you have access to an immense pool of context that you can leverage further. For instance, inside calendars, you have your business meetings, but you may also have your private plans, your wife or partner flight number, for instance, these type of things. In your emails, you can have your loyalty program details. You can have what you're purchasing the most, the brands that you like the most, a lot of context that's actually helping shape the experience. In the room, we're probably all very familiar with the vehicle state, context, location, range, sensors. There is the whole bunch of what I would call the world context, which is traffic, weather, POIs that can just enrich a journey. And then partner APIs and MCP, something that I think has a huge potential where you can fusion all that context data with third-party partners, which you're used to work with on your phone apps or in your digital lives. And that can be flights, statuses, coffee apps, parking apps, but more importantly, all of that under the OEM policies, which means permissions, compliance with legal considerations, privacy and your own intent, the brand identity, the regional needs that were mentioned in one of the previous presentation. So the good use case is not only about context, it's also about the use case timing based on these data and the permissions that are associated with that. So let's be a little bit concrete. I like some really practical examples. The airport pickup story, for instance, a story of my life as far as I'm concerned. If you're going to pick up your wife, your kids, colleagues, partners at the airport, the vehicle knows the destination from the navigation. It can find the flight number from your emails or your calendar. It can check the flight status if it's connected with the right partner APIs and inform you about flight delays and propose you brakes or to slow down. It can find for you coffee shops on the route, place an order, and ask you before purchasing. And the point is that not a single of these capabilities is science fiction. It's just putting them together that creates this value and provides, I think, a calmer user experience. So the agentic loop is something I want to talk about. Loops is something you hear more and more in the AI world. You sense, as a vehicle, the context, the data, the signals, or as agents, provided into reasoning agentic capabilities, that can deduct goals out of data. The user may not have a goal at the first place. The data, the context can generate the goals. You propose and ask for consent and execute, with the driver remaining central. And everything ensured to be decided within the policies that decide of the autonomy level of the agentic experience. So some design rules that can be useful. You may automate low-risk actions. As far as I'm concerned, I make a daily commute back to home, and I often fuel, I often shop. There are ways to automate such type of workflows to find the cheapest fuel option and the shopping nearby option that's matching my loyalty program, for instance. You may confirm and should confirm consequential actions, the ones involving payments, and make actions recoverable. Here, an example, for instance, with food ordering systems that can be called through APIs. You may place draft orders, which is something that Square, for instance, proposes. And you can turn a draft order into a firm order and process payments only upon reaching the nearby of the shopping destination. So these are ways to ensure that actions are recoverable until very late in the journey. Another, I think, popular mental model and way to look at this is to think about the agentic experience as a tiny operating company. Basically, everything depends on the user goal, but you have an agent ecosystem that shouldn't be considered as a magic brain, rather considered as a chief of staff that is understanding the goal but delegating to specialists the various tasks, resolving conflicts between navigation, productivity input, media, vehicle states, and keeping the user informed, but moreover, under governance and quality insurance, which isn't a side topic. That's the management system of the operating company, where you have the permissions, the rules, the regional properties, the brand identity preserved. The driver should feel one coherent experience and not 6 clever features. The EV road trip is also another, I think, popular use case. There are studies that mention that 51% of EV drivers use public charging monthly. However, with a satisfaction rate which is still relatively low at 64%. But the pain is real. You have range, charging availability, waiting time, food comfort, arrival confidence, a lot of, I would say, items that may go wrong. And a generic assistant might answer simple questions, but the agentic ecosystem can coordinate the full plan and resolve challenges and issues, as the fastest route might not be best if a charger is unreliable or crowded, or the cheapest charging might not match the lunch stop, or media or cabin comfort can be adapted for a long ride. So this is what agentic ecosystem can handle as opposed to app switching. So let's briefly talk about user experience. There is really something different with in-car agents as opposed to desktop assistant. The car is constantly moving, right, with moving context. You have also limited attention and limited ability to interact with one UI, if not multiple UIs. That means the system must be highly selective. Good agents, user experiences, is not about a chatty agent. It's about a timely one. It explains you why it is acting now. I just learned your flight is delayed, and proposes you the next action. It confirms anything that spends money, shares data, changes plans, or affects another person. It also has graceful failure. If a partner API fails or the confidence in the result is low, then the system should say so and have really simple fallback mechanism. Here is a little Canva practical tool for you guys in the room. And it's not something simple, but it's one more thing you can use to find the right use case, the right agentic use case. And as I said previously, you shouldn't ideate from the LLM feature list and the AI capabilities. Rather, try to score the moment. Is there a friction? Then, is the context rich? Is there a lot of data and data point to interact with? Can the vehicle or a partner safely take action? What is the risk level? Is there confirmation needed? And who provides the missing data, the missing API? So the best agentic use cases are probably the ones where there is a high context, a lot of data intersecting, and of course a high action value, but of course without any safety critical impact. We have here the airport pickup I mentioned. A media search is a real pain. The EV road trip, commute recovery, service concierge, family logistics. All of these are some of the examples. But going back to what I said previously about the data intersection, I really recommend to evaluate what is in the available data and how they can come together, because that's where I think the magic comes. So of course, the adoption path for OEMs and all the partners involved shouldn't be necessarily a big bang reset. You can really take that step by step and start narrow with building a first really boring but essential step, which is set up the models, the semantics, the APIs, the identity, the permissions, and then contextualize with the user profiles, the location, the intent management, and then compose multi-steps workflows with confirmation. And then add up the partners, one after another, with their trusted APIs and their SLAs, and very, very important monitoring of service availability. And finally, I would say the last step of maturity could be to be connected to a store of agent, a governed marketplace of capabilities. And this is where we at Cinemo come into play, thinking that there is a way to elevate the user experience and bring together users, OEMs, their developers, and partners together in a unified architecture with high governance, high certifiability, permission management, monitoring, updated constantly, and potential even monetization. An agent store is actually a structured ecosystem that's adding new value throughout the full vehicle life cycle while preserving the brand, the safety, the privacy, and the trust. So beyond assistant is not autonomy of the car, it's the autonomy of the experience. And now if there are questions, I'm more than happy to take them and let you enjoy a nice coffee. Thank you all very much.